MaJaMa Jams is brought to you by We Don't Know.
Does anybody has anything they'd like to say
Yeah, it smells like shit in here. I don't know who it is, but it's just bad.
about my Home Alone 3 soundtrack CD?
Dude, don't even get me started, man. How are you going to include the iconic Chumbawamba's tub thumping so prominently in the trailer and then not include it in the movie?
You own the Home Alone 3 soundtrack?
I did, but as of 4 minutes ago, it is no longer underneath my mattress.
And you think one of us... Wait, under your mattress?
Where is it? This is a knife!
That's a ketchup packet.
Damn it! I knew it looked too much like a ketchup packet.
You were ready to stab us over this?
You get done killing Matthew, could you pass me the ketchup here? Ah! Wait a minute. I knew this tasted funny. Or should I say, not funny?
Because of all the negative critical reviews of Home Alone 3.
Because of all the negative critical reviews of Home Alone 3.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
I'll be gone an hour at the very most. I called Mrs. Hess and told her you'll be alone, and she...
You call Mrs. Hess? She knows I'm going to be alone?
Welcome back, everyone, to MaJaMa Jams, a show where we discuss other people's work to avoid doing our own. And guys, as you might be able to tell by looking at this idiotic and cliche hat that is currently cutting off the circulation of my temples and ears, we have entered the Christmas season here on Jams. Tomas has an adorable hat on his head. Mateo is in a very non-Christmassy flamingo-colored Miami drug lord button down. And Matthew, even though he's holding Tomas, is dressed in his muted, boring colors because he grew up and thought he was too good for graphic tees and a sense of style. So, you may all ask yourself, it's only
This is the holiday season, man. You just tore both of us down.
That's all right, because my love for you is beyond all mountains and oceans and galaxies.
All right, now you made it weird.
Okay, I actually hate both of you, dumb friggin' wops. So, you may ask yourself, wait a second, this is only the first week in December and you're already Christmas-fied. Are we getting another month-long block like we did in Halloween? Is that what's happening?
Are we?
Is that what's happening? It is. Ho, 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 which is not just how I describe your mom, sister, and daughter. It's also a Christmas greeting because what we are doing, which was my idea, that I'm very excited about, every shitty Home Alone. Not Home Alone, the first one. Not Home Alone 1. That's not what it's called. Not Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Those are godly and maybe two of the greatest films in the history of cinema. We'll get to that some other time because copyright keeps us from discussing those on the show. But what it doesn't do is Home Alone 3, Home Alone 4, Home Alone 5, and Home Sweet Home Alone. I don't know if any of you knew this because everyone knows Home Alone, but there are 4 movies past 2, and I said this month, 4 sequels, 4 weeks, we're breaking it down for you guys. And we are starting our Home Alone holiday celebration today with 3. Ho, ho, ho! And right off the bat, guys, a couple of quick factoids. Home Alone 3 is the last one that was actually theatrically released. Mateo, my fact checker, backed me up, I believe it was 1997?
Yeah.
1997. So we did have a bit of a half a decade gap here between Home Alone Lost in New York. Still theatrically released. We've got a little bit of what would go on to become Hollywood royalty. This is one of Scarlett Johansson's first roles. And as we descend into this month, we will probably come to learn that this is objectively the best of the sequels. We'll see. We're going to feel it as we go. Right now, it's kind of how I'm feeling how it is. So let's get into it. Something that I'd forgotten about was that this one was still written by the master himself, John Hughes, who is the reason, of course, we have every beloved 80s comedy ever, and, of course, Home Alone 1 and 2.
Written by?
Yeah, well...
Why? What? No? No?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Well,
it is credited.
Another what, there's drama? We're going to find... Does someone have behind-the-scenes facts for me later?
No, I don't
No,
know.
we're just speculation.
I told you my theory.
It's just speculation.
It's just speculation.
Yes, I feel-
So, another interesting fact...
What's the theory?
that he wasn't born, conceived.
Oh, yeah. He told me that today, and I actually thought it might be... Yeah.
Let him say it for the show.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but he's just like,
My God, just steamrolling over everything. They
So-
haven't heard it. And then you continue. Mateo, please, your theory?
It's just like that it wasn't born as a Home Alone. It was just like Baby's Day Out or something like that. And then all of a sudden they say, oh, we need to reboot Home Alone. Take the script, adapt it for that. But the protagonist is a 96-year-old guy. Never mind. Just like put a kid and it's fine.
Yeah, I can see it.
Something like that.
How embarrassing.
Because it feels, I mean, granted, once they decided that it would have been a Home Alone, they put some things, like the repetitions of the jokes, and...
They put some things, like every joke and mannerism and breath from the first one.
But I don't think, it has a different feel. Yeah. Mostly...
It's an interesting theory.
Mostly because the bad guys are bad guys, except for the long hair dude.
It's been a long time since I was a kid. You forget how incredibly stupid they are.
They don't have a great personality that you...
personality.
As you guys usually get on me, we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
Yes.
Getting ahead of ourselves. But I would like to say, no, this is not going to mean anything, but it's fun factoids. The editor of the first two Home Alone movies, Raja Gosnell, Matthew knows, would go on to direct the Scooby-Doo movies, but it turns out he actually directed this one. So guys, if you're ever out there and you're worried that you're just a writer on a Home Alone movie, steadfast, young one. You may bump up to director in a future installment. So,
writer?
Editor. I said editor.
Oh, you said writer.
I said, okay, I messed it up.
I get it.
Sorry.
I'm very sorry about this.
What does it matter?
All right, so let's get into it, guys. So Macaulay Culkin is replaced by young Alex, who, much like us in Bad CGI Sharks, actually uses his real name for his character name. His name is Alex in the movie. He's Alex in real life.
I'm sure he demanded it by contract.
Yeah, probably.
I saw a copy of it. He also needed 16 Asian hookers in his trailer every day. Turned out that was actually just for his dad, who had a painful addiction that was ripping the family apart. It was all just a front. So, young Alex is...
What would he do with the hookers while his dad wasn't in the room?
Just played board games. Oh. They're still people, man.
Well, that's debatable.
Had nothing to do with this. I'm innocent.
So, young Alex is stricken with chickenpox. And one of the most annoying things, or not even necessarily annoying, but kind of jarring things, is that Home Alone is defined in both movies by the family being gone far. They cannot get back is the main crux of it. In this one...
It's in the title, pretty much.
It is in the title. In this one, technically the title's correct because he's home alone, but just for the day. Just for the afternoon.
During the afternoon.
Or he keeps getting home alone, and then he keeps getting...
Yeah, they come back. So the biggest thing, which is kind of jarring, is that it really is just the mom keeps going out to work and things are happening in between. It's not as massively, jarring as it sounds.
The dad is not defined particularly.
He leaves on a business trip, right?
Yeah,
so
eventually.
Just get him out of the picture.
But yes, exactly.
Get the dad out of the picture.
And yeah, he is. I mean, they hammer on the head the fact that it's the suburbia, so during the afternoon nobody's at home.
Nobody's home during the day.
This is a very safe and secure neighborhood.
All clear.
They say that several times.
Yes, exactly. Is the premise of the whole thing.
Except for the old lady.
Except for the old lady, who is old.
R. Marley. Yeah. Maybe we should do a chart comparing every element to the first film. So that's the main thing, is that Alex is intermittently home alone. He's struck with the chicken pox. His mom has to go in for a business deal.
I have to blow my nose. No one talk.
Oh.
Don't look at me, though.
I'd like to watch. Or twice?
Sorry. Oh. I should have said something before.
Yeah.
All right.
The world laughs.
Okay.
Let's pick it up from...
So Matthew was saying
what?
That they go through great pains to make the mom congruent to Catherine O'Hara with the type of red hair and the way she dresses.
That's just how she naturally looks.
The mom is also our Billy. I think they have some very exciting things.
Isn't this wonderful? We're finally getting to know each other. You cannot do that in an office.
There's his sexualized boss in Gremlins 2. Shout out.
I think she's sexualizing him. But I guess in terms of the movie, she's sexualized as well.
Yeah.
The mom in Home Alone 3 is sexualized?
I don't think that's a problem during the day, honey.
So we get a little bit of setup as Alex being the precocious little scamp that the brother and sister are kind of, down on him only really because that's the archetype for Home Alone. We don't really get too much of, the Kevin is the punching bag of the family that we get.
They also are not home, the two brothers.
Right. School days.
Yeah.
Now, I have my quarterly client meeting from noon till 5, so I need you and Molly to come straight home after school to stay with Alex until Dad gets home.
We should say that before any of that, we actually spent a decent little chunk of time setting up the criminal story.
Yeah.
We open with that. In Hong Kong.
In Home Kong.
Look, it's not...
A Home Alone movie should not start in Hong Kong.
Well,
I mean, unless it's taking place in
to
Hong Kong.
Mateo's theory, forgive me, it's not a bad idea, this idea of 4 international criminals that have to get this, big MacGuffin, whatever the hell it is, and they end up in
It's a microchip to
control missiles, airplane?
Something like that, for Air Force.
Whoever possesses this chip could dominate the entire region.
They end up in the suburbs, and they have to deal with suburban life as they try to get it. I mean, that may be classic fish out of water trope or whatever you want to call it, but it's not terrible. Mateo's right that I suppose that could be a separate story that John Hughes... Again, Baby's Day Out is the classic criminals witted against an innocent, and
John Hughes wrote Baby's Day Out?
Their ass handed to them, yeah.
I didn't even know that.
He also wrote a similar movie where an infant had a homosexual leg affliction called Baby's Gay Gout.
All right.
So,
How did that happen?
I don't know.
So, we get these 4 criminals, all dark-haired, all kind of...
Interchangeable.
Yeah, although we do want to give credit to the one gentleman who has a great delivery. Great voice and delivery. Yeah. And actually, I can remember still, when they're at the airport first, they're saying they're looking for the... Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Forgive me, beloved audience. They hide the said MacGuffin in a toy RC car. How did I not start with that?
And RC stands for?
What a hack host. Remote control.
Or radio control.
Radio control. Wow, friggin'...
Or radar control.
Let's just say we don't know.
Or Roger Corman.
That could be it.
Okay.
I think it stands for Roger Corman, because why not?
I must rise to the occasion.
We now return to MaJaMa.
Sorry, I didn't
You can take Thank you.
Thank you.
So, the first things first. Apologies. They hide it in an RC car. That's the inciting incident to all of this.
No. The inciting incident, the bag where they hide the car.
That's the inciting of the inciting incident.
And another bag of the neighbor of the aforementioned Alex gets swapped.
Oh my God.
She had baguettes. Don't you feel difference of weight
Yes.
and size with the box?
And also...
Wait till you get to the gun talk of weight and size.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
I do want to point out, it is the nature of the show, but we are going to spend this whole episode doing what we yell at my mom for doing with Home Alone after 30 years of loving, which, that would break his neck. Oh, the cops would do. Oh, the mom would know. So we are aware that we're doing that.
But it's a lot easier to gloss over those
when the movie is so good.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Yes.
Also, all of this is making me realize how damn good Home Alone and Home Alone 2 are. My God.
What?
My God. So, RC car gets switched. It is now in the home of our old lady in the neighborhood.
Mrs. S.
Is it really?
I think they call her Mrs. S because her last name is...
Probably in Polish.
Yeah.
All done, Mrs. Hess.
I called Mrs. Hess.
Call Mrs. Hess.
And Alex is shoveling her driveway. We get introduced to all of them.
Is that what you call it?
And very quickly, he gets the chicken pox and has to be left home alone. Now, in the first of many idiotic things...
She gives him the car as payment for shoveling her driveway. Which is not a euphemism for shaving her bush. Which he does do in the summer sometimes.
I was actually going, when you first brought it up, I was going to say something about shaving the bush.
Absolutely.
So,
Merry Christmas.
The criminals, luckily for them, there is a house for lease in the neighborhood. And I assume
the same street.
They have the money to just throw down and get this house on lease, and they move in there now.
And it's available immediately. My boys are just gonna love it here.
And then in
3 seconds.
I feel like I've been turning into Mateo a lot lately on this show, but in what is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in a movie, especially as a dog lover, they kidnap a dog from the street that they will be on, and then to be able to survey the neighborhood, they walk the kidnapped dog through probably 5 feet away from where it's all the same street.
The streets probably lined with missing dog.
Yeah, and the kid
flyers.
knows the owner of the dog.
He looked just like Johnny Allen's dog, so I called the police.
So very, very offensive choice. But they go through all these things, fake baby carriage, kidnap dogs so that they can walk through the streets. They're trying to find out who has the car, toy car. They have 2 calls from Alex, who also, another thing, Alex is laid up with an affliction, chickenpox, so he's stuck in his house, bored, and he's using a telescope to spy on the neighbors. Sound familiar? It's what me and you do every Saturday. No, it's Hitchcock's Rear Window, and I do think...
Or Shia LaBeouf's...
Disturbia.
Disturbia, yes.
Very nice. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. So...
I don't know what the connection was.
It's the same exact plot. Shia LaBeouf's laid up with a broken leg, so he starts realizing that David Morse...
Yes.
So... What?! I do think there's a pretty interesting movie for kind of a Home Alone-esque take on Rear Window. This is not it, but I would like to point out that this angle we're playing kind of has potential. So he sees the burglar not once but twice, calls it into the cops like a good citizen. They, of course, find no one because the criminals are all tapped into the phone lines. They know when people are calling. They vacate there. So twice they say, hey, Alex, the cop hotline is not a laughing matter. You only call if the person you see inside the house is black, for God's sakes. Then, lightning fast.
The cop hotline?
The cop hotline. Yeah, thanks for calling the cop hotline. We're in the back sticking a nightstick up some poor immigrant's butt, and we're having some donuts. So after we get our first 2 false alarms, things kick into high gear when the criminals realize, I think again through a fake phone call, or not a fake phone call, but a call impersonating a neighbor saying, hey, did your son steal my kid's toy car?
Alex, do you know a Bradley Clovis?
Yeah?
This is his mother on the phone. Did you take a toy car from him?
Blah, 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 boom. They know where the car is. We now shift into high gear because they're gunning for the house that Alex is in. They know he's there. And so then, what happens next, Matthew?
He spends an entire night with his entire family home, cutting and sawing and destroying his house
and
to get it ready for the criminals.
Now that is, I actually, when you said that while we were watching it, I was like, wait, no, but you're right, that the family is, the whole thing of the movie is they're not gone, they're home. So
maybe the dad is not there. It's not clear whenever
yes, I
he
think the
leaves
dad
or
just leaves. Like
something.
I said, make it easier, get him the hell out of the way.
But still, there are 3 elements in the house. There is the mom and the 2
siblings.
Yes.
So while
someone's bound to hear a nail being hammered or floorboards being dragged off of the floor.
We understand that Kevin McAllister is John McClane of the 8-year-olds. We go with it because the role is played so well here. Everyone's home, and you're doing Tim Allen level home improvements. Listen, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He does so much in the middle of the night, and then they leave for work, and they say, we're going to take the house.
Who says that?
And then we get to the almighty segment. That is the only reason this movie exists. The traps.
Ouch.
Which is not that great.
We have 4. Yeah, I don't know.
Not great.
We have 4 criminals, so you would think it kept bumping up. In fact, I remember that as a kid, I was like, wow, Home Alone 2. We were watching Home Alone 2 incessantly when we got the VHS.
I understand.
And I remember after watching it so many times in a row, I went back to the first Home Alone, and I was like, holy crap, it feels like the friggin' trap thing is cut in half. So they really did bump it up.
Which it literally almost is, right?
I think it's like double the length.
Yeah.
I will say, again, in that one, love the Home Alone 2 trap montage.
Okay, kid. You want to throw bricks? Go ahead, throw another one.
Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci don't get enough credit for how frigging hilarious they are physically. Massively funny Stooges-esque comedy. Again, makes you appreciate what's really going on in these movies. This one, I don't know, Matthew. I remember when we watched it the first time, I was like, well, at least there'll be traps, and I remember having enough fun. I do like the visual of the glue in the Mega Bloks buckets, just the visual of it.
How about when he's in the Mega Bloks buckets with wheels on them, he's going to walk to the top of the stairs, and I think someone's in the basement, so he says, hey, I'm going to come down there. Yeah. So he's about to step onto a staircase with his feet glued into the giant buckets with wheels on them, but he's already going to do that on his own accord, but there's some sort of stick along the entranceway that he trips on and rolls down, does a flip, and then falls on the steps. But like, what would have happened if you just stepped on those steps normally without that stick there? You would have still busted your ass. How does it make any sense?
And also, how much glue does this family harvest?
Yeah, so it's like a tub like this filled, two of them. So
plus,
that's what,
plus,
like 80?
Plus the jar behind the handle.
Dude,
of
even
the
industrial glue tube is like that. Like how many
it looks like rubber cement or something, like a big bucket.
Yeah, no, because she I don't know if the bucket that she
puts her hand into.
Yeah, she puts her hand into. Is it actually a bucket of glue or is it a bucket of paint that he filled with glue? I don't know, but still, you have to have at least 20 of those to fill those buckets.
Are they doing renovations in the house? Right?
She says that, but
she mentioned something, but again, it's just a pass on.
At least that helps a little bit.
I'm living in a house that's half renovated. My kids have activities.
Yeah.
So we then
and the fact
have
that he has tools and stuff.
We have a decently long, but I guess Matthew's right.
Nothing really stood out that made me laugh.
I think for some reason I had a genuine stupid guffaw. The very first one where, oh, by the way, little MaJaMa's alumni, our hated stoic lead from Electric Dreams is one of the crooks. We always love running into MaJaMa's alumni in the show.
Moles.
But him, he sits in the chair, electrocutes him, so he naturally springs up, smacks into the wall, sits back down, smacks into the wall. I have to admit that kind of on a base Looney Tunes level got a guffaw to me, but I think you're right that most of them, they're not bad, at least the spirit of the zaniness, but...
I think that one of the things that doesn't work on this one is that the fact that there are 4 of them.
Too many?
Yes.
Too many cooks?
There are too many crooks. And it gets diluted to a degree. Because at a certain point, the leader vanishes for about 20 minutes. You don't know where he's at. And
2 things on that when you're done.
Oh.
I guess you have to be 35 before anyone around here listens to you.
And when this is personal, I mean, granted, on this one, your suspension of disbelief has to be extremely high because the kid makes some feat like knowing that there is a ramp on the car.
The RC car.
The RC car. The
Without
RC car
any view
has
whatsoever.
batteries and never is like the batteries from Cloverfield's camera. And a range that is incredible.
Plus, he can have this view because at one point he has to open up the window for the range for the RC car, but he's still able to see like everywhere in the neighborhood where this car is going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if you've used an RC car, but they get to the door there and they're just screwing up on you.
Yes.
Settled.
And then one thing that is always being annoying to me in movies like this is when you have something like the parrot that looks like a thinking, cognitive member of the family, and he actually can drive the car, can light the matches.
He murders our bad guy.
It's at least for a kids movie. It's at least
We have ignition. It's showtime.
But jumping back quick, what I want to say about the crooks...
That falls into a different category other than Home Alone, where you have a talking parrot who's able to drive a car, have a conversation.
You're 1,000% right.
With the crooks.
And
I don't mind it in a different movie, yes.
Remind me to come back to the church scene.
Ace Ventura Jr.
Have you ever wondered why you keep looking for lost animals?
Because... I don't know.
Because you're a Ventura.
Church scene.
Sure.
Church scene. So... Going back to the crooks
scene.
Today you learned something.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
You got hit with a book?
Books. Plural. A trunk full of books. Then a set of weights. We got hit twice, you dumb broad.
Your comment of there being too many makes me want to double down on. I wish they had zeroed in on the guy with the long hair, who I think we all agreed has a good comedic voice. I remember, did I say this right on camera? I think we got cut off, but they're all talking about what they saw in the airport when they're looking, and they go, I checked here, I didn't see anything. I checked here, I didn't see anything.
I checked the Dallas, Miami, New York, and Denver lounges. Nothing.
bars, restaurants, club lounge, clean.
When I was in the John, I didn't see anything in there.
His voice is actually pretty great, and like you said, he's the only one kind of trying to add a little.
He's
comedic
trying to
pizzazz.
differentiate.
I wish they would have zeroed in on him.
Yeah.
I think he's actually got a great delivery.
And also, that's the thing that is more strident, is that the other three, even if comedically, I don't say like a Disney villain, which I go often because I grew up with those kind of stuff like Cesar Romero and everything.
I believe you.
But they're playing it more straight in terms of their performance, whereas he is the only one who seems to have...
Realizes what movies are.
Yeah, exactly. And that is also what it makes it less...
What are you doing to him?
I don't know. But what it makes it less working, let's say, more as an amalgam.
But once again, you can play a role like this straight and really do a really awesome job of kind of juxtaposing the material with your performance, but they just fell flat. And
What I was going to say is that, again, everything, and I'm sure as we go down this rabbit hole, we will grow to love the first two movies more and more and more. But maybe not necessarily Daniel Stern. He's our perennial goofball, and I love him for it. But we get America's grade A famous movie mobster Joe Pesci, so that when Pesci says,
First thing I'm going to do is bite off every one of these little fingers, one at a time.
you're like, oh, okay, this you go with it that he's scary too. None of that here. I love the fact that Pesci, what is it? He always gets to the point where he's so afraid, like, I'm going to freaking murder that kid. I'm going to snap his finger. I'm going to boil your cojones in motor oil.
You bomb me with one more can, kid, and I'll snap up your cojones and boil them in motor oil.
Like, there's an actual, Joe Pesci might actually kill this kid because he's Pesci. It's freaking great.
How many times have you said that in your life?
Marv balances out with the goofiness. But yeah, here there's no... Granted, the leader at the end, when the tables are turned, he's like, and now you've fallen into one of my traps.
In your zeal to aid your neighbor, you finally stepped into one of my traps.
But I don't know. It's not... I love that Pesci, you could tell he would kill this kid.
They tried to do it at the end a little bit when the lady kisses the lady crook.
Right,
kisses the old lady on the head and then leaves the door open for her to freeze. And then the main bad guy pulls the coat off of her that Alex just put on the old lady when he finds her. So they tried to do touches of it there, but it just was too late.
Yeah, it looks like that they never decided whether to play it straight or play it goofy.
Yeah.
And it's this mishmash that doesn't really work because and also one other thing that this is just like I guess it is because I'm old in general, but take at least one who is blonde. Make them a little different.
Oh, dark haired.
They're all
4 black hair.
Yeah. So much so that when the only lady,
the wig,
poses,
you're like, who the hell is that?
Yes, she poses as a renter, and we see her, and the camera zooms, moves into her as if to say, "Oh, this is a big reveal." I say, "Who the hell is that woman?"
Is this a new character?
Yes.
There's a crazy, weird thing about Dumb and Dumber 2, where it feels like they had them do. Like, I remember there's a downward point. I think in the first movie it's when Mr. Manolito is passed out because they accidentally feed him the hot peppers. There's a downward mocking point, and I think they do it on the hotel balcony, but...
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber 2 is full of these weird moments where it's like, hey, Lloyd, look at this footage from the first one. Look at that point you did. Could you do the exact... It's very strange. Yeah. And so in this one, I hadn't seen this...
Technically, it's Dumb and Dumber 3.
Technically,
yeah, it's a prequel.
No. Just order of how the movies came out.
All right, well, he suggested I've been wanting to do an episode on all 3 of those forever, so fingers crossed.
Huh?
What? But to that point, what happens here, I had not seen this in so long, I didn't realize they cannibalize the scene that still to this day makes my dad laugh no matter how many times he's seen it.
Marv? Don't. Marv, what are you doing? Marv.
Tarantula on Harry's crotch, and Marv sees it. He's terrified of spiders. He comes up, and so I know this little minute-long bit by heart in my bone. Harry, don't move. Don't move. And we get the mouse in the pants. Was it the girl, I think, is scared of it? And again, don't move. And even what are you doing?
Don't move. Alice?
What? Alice? Shh. Alice?
It's the same bit. I don't know if this is made better or worse by the fact that Hughes is the one writing it again, but again, it's not just the same bit. I feel like, don't move is exactly the same.
Don't move.
Marv?
Don't move. Alice?
Don't move.
Alice?
Marv, what are you doing? Marv.
Alice?
You think you just cut and paste a lot of the script? You had it.
Is it a little short? Don't worry.
I had a moment last night where, no joke, I was sitting there actually trying to visualize that there was a moment in human history where John Hughes knew this was happening, was going to get a paycheck for it, and he sits down, he's like, how the flip am I gonna make it happen again?
I know he got
what do you people expect from me?
I know he got the credit, but he probably wasn't the one to actually physically
possibly
write it, right?
Why do you
Probably
say that?
overseeing the process of the script being formed, and
It's just him. Doesn't say and someone else.
had some weigh-ins, but I'm sure there was like 17 people underneath.
But
his name.
we cannibalize a lot. We have the so the church scene. If you just watch Home Alone, maybe
Well, okay, let's not, because we're gonna do 4 of these movies. So let's not compare. Let's stop comparing to Home Alone 1 and 2.
Well, I was just going to say that we, to our Mrs. S, at the end, Alex helps her, and she says,
And you're a very sweet young man. I just never took the time to notice.
You're not alone in that.
and it's always interesting as a student of film when something happens that doesn't feel earned, because I want to gush tears at the end, which, by the way, credit to this man right here who made me see how Marley...
You guys cried at the end of this?
Old man Marley waves at the end of Home Alone.
I pinched my finger in
Hey!
the table.
Hey! It's an important moment for Mateo.
Once again, you're talking about Home Alone. Right?
This ties into the whole thing. I'll shut up about the other episodes will be just trashing the new ones, okay? But at the end of Home Alone, Marley is embracing his daughter,
lower your voice.
who he hadn't seen her forever, and he waves. And the bandage that's been on his hand the whole time is gone because his hand is healed like he's healed. He taught me that. And that scene makes me legit cry, and the church scene is beautiful. And if you just was Home Alone, it might just be part of, a kind of beloved Kitty Christmas movie. Once you see the unearnedness of him meeting with Mrs. S, it's like, oh my God, I have goosebumps like a little weirdo just thinking about the church scene. I love that scene. So it's basically Home Alone intermittently and everything photocopied and unearned.
Settled.
It's not as disgusting as still to this day.
Was that the pitch?
John, did you just say that? And why am I still going to say yes?
I'm sorry, I just don't care. I just had to say it. I'm sorry.
We don't either. We're going to make a little bit of money. Go ahead. So it's still not as bad as The Hangover 2, which still sticks the nasty taste in my mouth of literally being Xeroxed of the first script. But this is basically Home Alone, but he's Home Alone intermittently, and we just cannibalize the best parts, deliveries, attitudes of... Again, the siblings, I feel like they're being jerky towards them just because that's the rules of the Home Alone world. And I feel like at the end they... Like, hey, that's my brother you're talking about, just because that's movie rules that they come around.
The it you're referring to is my little brother.
It's mercifully brief. Didn't necessarily feel like it, but... And this is all the one that I think is going to be the cream of this crop. Do you guys have anything positive to say about Home Alone 3? We said today, it's not offensive.
It's not offensive.
I mean, it's offensive, but it's not horrific.
Yes.
No.
And the kid is not...
He's not bad.
Compared to what we're about to see?
He's not, yes.
In 4 and 5, at least.
Also, we should pause and say, when Matteo Molinari is saying the kid's not that bad, this dude hates movie kids.
One thing I can't stand is kid actors.
Hates precocious movie kids, so that, the kid's not bad.
You're wrong.
And as much as he's clearly aping the Kevin shtick, he's not bad at it.
No.
The little like, Mom, and then what about dragons?
What about dragons, giant spiders, mummies, the living dead, and other figments of my imagination?
Alex.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
it's not bad.
I kind of like his face. He makes expressions. He's communicative.
You don't want to grit your teeth and roll your eyes hard enough to see blood that you're watching this dude try and be that. So
no, you don't want that.
So I don't know. We probably.
I was gonna say something.
Sorry, it's not the Jaden Smith.
What did you want me to do?
Yeah.
Who can be?
Jaden Smith.
Yeah, he's doing a good job at it.
After the Will Smith slap,
Oh, wow!
he tweeted out, and that's how we do.
Referencing what?
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Gotcha.
So did we leave anything out, or pretty much it's such a photocopy for the most part?
The weird thing is they open up on the scene with him in the bedroom, and he has a very realistic looking toy gun that comes in even a case.
Oh,
with a
yeah.
cushion,
Yes.
as you would get a real carrying case for your, like a lockbox for your gun.
Lockbox.
And then he takes another fake gun, which is orange and yellow, spray paints it black, and then I don't know what he was gonna do with that, but
there's a third gun.
That's
No,
what I'm saying.
there's a real gun.
He has two fake guns.
Yeah, that's
One
what I'm saying.
spray
Two
paints
fake,
black,
one
and
real.
One's a toy.
And by complete happenstance.
Like, what was his plan to spray paint the first? Right?
And why did he?
Yeah.
hit the-
Bubble gun, dart gun, real gun.
Yeah, but why did?
Sounds like a Devo signal.
Why did he hide the fake gun underneath?
On top of the washing machine, under a sweater.
Yeah, and hoping that I don't know, because he has a lot of
yes
premonitions, because
Yeah.
he is building traps specifically on things that have to happen.
And like I said, you can pick apart a lot of stuff in Home Alone 1 and 2.
Yes.
But at least there's enough gloss and glaze and
Well,
hearts.
the ultimate example. How did Kevin? Because and then you don't care because the scene is so painfully funny. How did Kevin know that Marv would first go into the basement, do the tar, get the socks off, then be barefoot when he tried the window? If he tries the window with his feet on, he just smashes some ornaments. Oh, I'm inside, you dumb kid.
He took his feet off?
You don't.
Yeah.
Is that what it says? If he just goes in there with his boots on, he just smashes some ornaments, and oh my God, I'm inside.
I'm gonna kill that kid!
You forgive it because Daniel Stern plays that scene painfully hilarious. So, I think the biggest crime of this is it's just a cesspool of mediocrity. It's almost like it would have been better if you made it even shittier, so we could have, it just kind of simmers in the middle. It's not horrifically offensive. It's
Probably had they not called it Home Alone, it would have been
all right.
just like all right.
They would have gotten called out for being a ripoff, but still.
Yeah, but if you have John Hughes attached, you say, oh, it's another adventure of a precocious kid who is dealing with evil adults.
That's a great title.
Yes. It's a little verbose, but it's okay.
He gets the point across.
Yes.
The funny thing is, I think we did cover everything. Like, it's really just false alarm 1, false alarm 2. They find the real house. They move in, traps. Oh, and then, I'm sorry, break down your critique on the FBI getting involved real quick.
Oh, so...
Break that. That was...
So, Kevin...
Freudian slip.
Alex.
So Alex finds a microchip inside the car, and he sees has U.S. Air Force stamped on it. So he calls the local recruiting agency, tells them about it. The guy's like, this is just a recruiting agency. There's probably a bunch of toys with U.S. Air Force printed on it. It's no big deal.
Kid, a lot of toys have Air Force written on it.
But he gives him some kind of serial number, so that guy enters into the system, and it gets flagged by the higher-ups in the government, or FBI. So once the FBI guy gets this information, he's like, oh my God, we got to get to
Chicago.
Is Chicago again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Okay. So instead
He's
of
down the street from Kevin.
calling the police, calling the boy, calling the recruiter saying, okay, you had this boy's information, because he clearly gives him his name.
They blow the
No
doors
contact whatsoever. Like, oh, we want to do a surprise on like our family. We're coming to visit out of Vermont. We're gonna just show up out of nowhere. Like, they don't give any sort of forethought into making sort of contact that could prevent something worse from happening in the meantime.
We're going to Chicago.
They wait to fly to Chicago to get there, to get to the parents. They locked down the school.
But then they waste all the time and say, oh.
Agent Stuckey, FBI. I came to talk to your son. You called the Air Force about a computer chip and a remote control car?
No. Oh, God. It's Alex.
Your son is targeted by very dangerous people, but I'm wasting time to tell you everything now.
It's set up for the gag.
It's fine, yes.
It's the run-on, then your brother was involved in it.
We think he intercepted a top-secret electronic device stolen from a Defense Department contractor by a group of international criminals working for a North Korean terrorist organization.
Either way, it's kind of cool in the sense that Alex is proven right and gets to be a hero, which Kevin never really got from his family.
Yeah.
He everything happened under the cover of them being,
you're right.
Being home alone.
Okay,
them not being there.
Drop in the positive
so
bucket.
No one ever really knows what this kid went through on these 2 Christmases.
And in the language of the kids are smart, the adults are dumb movies, it is kind of a cool moment to have the FBI captain be like,
7 years I've been after this guy. He always manages to slip away. Thanks.
You know, if you're a little kid watching this, I get how that's a cool scene. The little kid outsmarted them.
They couldn't touch me.
I don't know.
Let's express our feelings on part 1 of our journey into the Home Alone sequels by throwing these pieces of paper. I think the only thing I can do is do 1. Oh, that's going to be the half because it ripped as I pulled it up. 2.5 because it's just so middle of the road. It's just defined by mediocrity. I don't hate it. I don't love it. Matthew hates it more. Here's roll fucked up. I'm giving 2.5 because its biggest crime is resounding, pulsating, throbbing mediocrity.
Another good title for it.
Yeah, some punchline.
Please.
Okay. I go with 3 because it was when it I didn't see it in the theaters, but it was the first probably moment where I told myself, really, Hollywood has no new ideas and they have to rehash.
Just wait.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't know what was going on, but so it's as we discussed, it's not. It's a good wash to have it while you're in another room
making cookies.
Yeah, or something like that. And
actually, probably the perfect use. You're decorating the tree, put it on his background.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, whatever.
So,
leave the TV off. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or watch another channel. So 3.
I'm trying not to vote based on what we're about to watch.
What's about to happen right after this episode.
But it's just not, I guess, a 3.
Well, that's very fair for you, dude. My God.
3.5.
Okay, that's more like it.
It's just, it is.
Perhaps
it does exist.
This movie is the phrase. It is what it is.
MaJaMa.
So, guys, thanks for joining us for part 1 of our descent down the rabbit hole into the Home Alone sequels. This is probably as good as it's going to get, even though Home Sweet Home Alone at least has slick Disney production values, but the next 2 were made for TV. Oh, no, spare us.
Fox Family or ABC Family.
So come back next week for Home Alone 4. I'm so excited about our Home Alone block for this month. And from our family here on the couch to yours, happy holidays, whatever you guys celebrate. And we'll see you right back here amongst the snow paper. And Merry Christmas, guys. That's a jam. Hat's coming off right now. It's friggin' itchy.
MaJaMa.
NASA has graciously agreed to illustrate the layers of the Earth's atmosphere for MaJaMa Jams. We begin with the troposphere, which is a layer we live in. Above it, we find the stratosphere. This region is where commercial passenger aircraft fly. Moving up, we encounter the mesosphere, which, thanks to the increased presence of gas molecules, burns up all the meteors when they cross it. Then we find a very active layer called the thermosphere, which houses the International Space Station and other low Earth orbit satellites. The end of our atmosphere is represented by the exosphere, where outer space begins. And just above it, you'll find the suspension of disbelief necessary to appreciate Home Alone 3.